What is an economy? An economy is a system which tries to balance the available resources of a country, land, labor, capital and enterprise, against the wants and needs of consumers. It deals with three key issues: what is produced, how it is produced, and who gets what is produced. There are three main types of economy: planned economy, market economy and mixed economy. Planned, also known as command, types of economies were found in previously communist countries, such as Romania, Bulgaria and Russia, and in North Korea today. In a planned economy, the government makes all decisions for society. Producers only make what they are instructed to make. The main benefits are that most workers are employed and most people enjoy a similar basic lifestyle. The problems, however, may be far-reaching. A planned economy gives little capacity for development, so growth and investment is limited. The infrastructure is usually underdeveloped as government spends on other areas such as defense. Wages are state-controlled, so people have less motivation to perform at higher levels. Prices are fixed by government. Consumers often cannot afford luxury goods such as computers or mobile phones, which are taken for granted in developed countries. In market economies, also known as free enterprise, the government's role is limited to providing legislation to protect businesses and consumers and making sure no single business or organization restricts competition. It also provides essential services like police and defense, and ensures the country's money supply is stable. The main features are: businesses are motivated by profits to make products that customers will buy. Customers' demand for products and services affects the levels of supply and the pricing. If customers do not buy and demand falls, then a business must make less, be more efficient or produce an alternative product. There are few, if any, examples today of countries with a purely free market economy. A purely market economy could have several drawbacks. It could lead to inequality in society. For example, those who can afford to pay for health care receive it, those who cannot pay, do not. In times of economic crisis, without government intervention, many businesses, such as major banks which have a fundamental role in the nation's economy, would fail. The mixed economy is a combination of both planned and market economies. Most countries demonstrate a mixed economy, including the most developed countries like the UK and the USA. Even a communist country like China has an economy which relies on a mixture of state and private enterprise. In a mixed economy, the government contributes and controls some resources and the market controls the rest. The proportion of each contribution may vary. For example, in some Scandinavian countries, the state provides a very high level of social benefits but charges high taxes. In the USA, public benefits such as free national health care are minimal. The UK position is somewhere in between. An economy is a system of organizations and institutions that either facilitate or play a role in the production and distribution of goods and services in a society. Economies determine how resources are distributed among members of a society, they determine the value of goods or services, and they even determine what sorts of things can be traded or bartered for those services and goods. How a society structures its economic system is largely a political and social issue. The political and legal structure of a society will govern how wealth can be accumulated, how wealth and resources are distributed, and the manner of competition permitted between different participants in the economy. In a market system, individual people own the factors of production, land, capital and labor, and they can do whatever they want to do with what they own, subject to minimum legal constraints. This might sound familiar if you live in the United States, because the U.S. is a market economy. You are able to bargain your labor for wages, and use your property as you see fit, so long as it's not illegal. In a market system, the law of supply and demand governs the economy. If there is a high demand for a product, resource or skill and a low supply of it, it will demand a high price to purchase it. Alternatively, if there is a low demand and a high supply, the price will be low. In other words, the market sets the price of goods, services, and labor. Demand will also determine how much of a product will be produced, or even if it will be produced at all. In a market system, you can engage in any type of lawful economic activity that you want, so long as you can pay for it. A command system is an economic system where economic decision-making is centralized and usually in the hands of the state. The government controls the factors of production and makes the decisions about what to produce, how much to produce, and to whom the products ultimately go. In theory, the idea is that all production and distribution is directed towards socially desirable goals. Classic examples of command systems include the economy of the old Soviet Union and the current Chinese economy. An economy is a sphere of livelihood governed by the institutional law of exchange. A sphere of livelihood is a space where living organisms produce and consume means of livelihood, goods and services. This is a genus with two species, the ecology and the economy. In the ecology, the animals produce what they consume, and consume what they produce individually. Some animals are gregarious, live in family groups, so that for them, the individual means the family group, household. There is no trade between the strangers, those who do not belong to the same household. The production and consumption of the means of livelihood is governed by the natural law of subsistence in the ecology. Production takes the simple natural form of gathering naturally occurring plant materials and hunting naturally occurring prey. Nature allows production by murder and plunder. The economy is a very special sphere of livelihood created by humans who defy the natural law of subsistence. First, nature compels an individual to produce what he wants to consume. There is no option to consume something that has not been produced by the individual consumer. Humans defy this restriction and undertake purchase from strangers. But strangers are natural enemies who hunt down each other. Humans by their intelligence and alertness found a way to avoid war and to engage in peaceful exchange. A payment is an object that the purchaser gives to the seller to acquire the right to consume the purchased object. A payment exists in the economy but does not exist in the ecology. Payment implies a social ban on plunder, but the ecology lives by plunder, murder, robbery, theft, fraud, slavery, rape. Secondly, nature does not allow an individual to produce what he does not consume. No wastage of energy is allowed in the production of what the individual does not consume. But humans defy this to produce what they sell to strangers. Hence the critical difference between the ecology and the economy is the occurrence of exchange. It occurs in the economy but not in the ecology. The generic element is livelihood, production and consumption occur in both the ecology and the economy.